guys, my name is Raquel. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over all of my unfinished series that are finished, but I just haven't finished them for whatever reason. I'm also going to talk about some series that I started that I decided to DNF, and then some series that have not been finished yet by the author that I am currently in the middle of. So starting with some series that have been completed by the author, but I have not finished them yet, and I am in the middle. First, we have the Addicted Calloway Sister series. So I started this series way back in November of last year, and I have felt like for the majority of the books, they are very fine, very average, very mediocre. I know that's kind of a unpopular opinion, but the Addicted series, if you're not familiar, the Addicted series follows Lily and Lo, who have two addictions, and they just kind of start out by like enabling each other, and then they end up having this really amazing story where they fall in love and they kind of help each other through their addictions. Then you have the spin-off series that is the Calloway Sisters series. These are following the lives of Lily's sisters, so each sister kind of gets their own book. Now, I read the first couple of books last year and early this year, and then when I finally got to the Calloway Sisters series, which is like, you know, you read a few of the Addicted and then you read some of the Calloway Sisters and then back to the Addicted. There's this particular order that the authors suggest that you read it, and that's how I'm doing it. And I read Kiss the Sky and Hot House Flower, which are the first two books in the Calloway Sisters series, and I really liked them a lot. I just really enjoyed those books so much more than the first three, and so I was really motivated to continue the series because I really thought about DNFing it after the first couple of books. So I was really excited. But then you have to go back to the Addicted series, and I read Thrive, which is almost just like telling the story of the last two books over again from Lily and Lo's point of view, which I hated. And then Addicted After All, which sees kind of Lily and Lo's kind of ending, which was nice. It was nice to see, but again, they're just not my favorite couple to read about. I don't know what it is, but I just don't enjoy reading from them. And after I finished that, I was so glad to just be done with it that it's been months since I've picked up another Addicted Calloway book. All I have left are Calloway Sisters series books. I have 3 books left in the entire series. The next one I have due is Fuel the Fire, and that is from Rose and Connor's point of view, and they are actually my favorite couple. I really like Reich and Daisy too, but I think there's just something about Connor and Rose, and I know that I'm gonna like the book. I know it, but I, for whatever reason, just never feel like reading it. Every time I pick it up, it's been on my TBR every month for the last couple of months, and I just can't bring myself to do it. So that is gonna change. Next week, I actually plan on finishing that book, and then I'm gonna get through it. I'm gonna get through it. That's like my goal for this year. I have to finish the Addicted Calloway series just so that I can be done with it. Just because, I mean, I've come this far. I can't just stop now. The next series that I'm in the middle of, believe it or not, ACOTAR. I love A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I love it. It's one of my favorite series of all time. I read the first 3 books last year over the summer, and then it took me forever to read the novella. I wanted to wait until Christmas time to read the novella, and that's what I did. So I waited a few months, read the Christmas novella, Court of Frost and Starlight, and I thought that was like, okay, perfect. I read that over Christmas. Now in January, I can start reading A Court of Silver Flames. And I never did, and it's August, and I still haven't picked that book. I don't know what it is. I feel like ACOTAR holds such a like warm place in my heart, and I just don't know how I feel about reading that world from someone who isn't Feyre and Rhysand. I'm worried that I'm not gonna like it. I'm worried I'm not gonna like those characters, and like, I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about it, but that is also on my goal before the end of this year, is to finish A Court of Silver Flames, because hopefully we get an announcement soon that another book is going to be coming out. So I'm really excited, and I need to be prepared for that. So definitely gonna finish that this year. The next series that I'm in the middle of is the Never After series. I actually just read Hooked this year, and I liked it. I gave it like a 4-star. I don't think I loved it as much as everybody else, but I hear that Scarred is one of the fan favorites, and I just ordered that, so I plan on reading that kind of soon. They are kind of their own standalone books, so it's not like you have to read them back to back, or you can read them in any order that you want to. So I'm not in some huge hurry to read them, and I thought, you know, it'd be kind of cool to have 1 or 2 a year to read. Although she did just come out with Crossed, which is like a reimagining of The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which is extremely intriguing to me. I loved that movie as a kid. It was super creepy, but I just loved it a lot. And so I'm actually considering reading them out of order because I really want to read that one. The next series that I'm in the middle of is the Red Zone Rival series by Candy Steiner. I read Blindside earlier this year and loved it, so I'm really looking forward to reading The Quarterback Sneak. I don't know that I'm going to be getting to that this year, but I definitely plan on reading it within the next year or so. I'm also in the middle of the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. I read the first one, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, this year and really had a great time with it. I loved the audiobook, and I'm always looking for something that's just done really well on audio. And so I'm definitely planning on reading the rest of them. I just don't know when that's going to be. I'm also in the middle of the Last Hours series by Cassandra Clare. It is one of the series in the Shadowhunters universe. I actually just picked up the audiobook for the second book, Chain of Iron, this week. So I read Chain of Gold, I think in like April or May. That's the first book of the series, and I didn't really like it very much. I thought it was kind of boring. It was really long. I just had absolutely no interest in picking it up, but I do own them, and I feel like it's such a waste of money if I don't read books that I own. I haven't been wanting to pick up this big chunker of a book. I have the hardback and I just don't want to pick it up. So I'm listening to it currently on audio, and I will say I'm about a few hours into it now. It's a really long audiobook. I'm kind of just hoping that I finish it this month, to be honest, but I am very much more interested in the story this time than I was with the last book. So hopefully it goes well and then I can finish the series. But yeah, it's definitely not my favorite. I read Infernal Devices last year, and that, in my opinion, was so much better and so much stronger. Definitely not having any kind of the same emotions for this series as the last one. The next series, I still haven't actually decided if I am going to finish it or not. I'm this close to DNFing it, and that is the Kane Brothers series by Megan Quinn. I read A Not So Meet Cute last month, and I thought it was just not very good. I don't mind a far-fetched plot, like, at all. I know that most romance novels, especially rom-coms, are a little far-fetched, and that's totally fine. But like the main character, the main female character, Lottie, was just extremely annoying. It's a billionaire, right, looking for a fake fiance, and a girl walking around a neighborhood in search of a rich guy. I don't know. I just like why is he into her? I just don't get it. And then the third act breakup is like the worst one I've ever read. She just gets so mad at the dumbest thing that is perfectly reasonable for him to be a little concerned about. And I just hated it. I just really hated it. I think I don't really vibe with Megan Quinn's humor, at least in this one book. I mean, obviously you can't just judge an author off of one book, but I feel like I saw all these times that she was trying to be funny, and I was like, you know, I don't know. Like, I am an Emily Henry humor kind of girl. And so this one, I don't know, I just did not vibe with it, and I'm not like super excited about reading the others. I've heard a lot of good things about the third book in this series, but I don't know if it's worth reading the second one to potentially have a book that I might like, because people talk so highly of this series and I just don't get it. And the last series that I'm in the middle of is Kingdom of the Wicked. I just read that book this week. Actually, you will probably see a lot of that in the next vlog that I post, but I'm in the middle of that. I've read the first one and I will definitely be continuing on with that series. Okay, so now for the slightly more negative information. These are a few series that I started that I will definitely not be finishing, at least not anytime soon, maybe never. I will not be finishing From Blood and Ash. I thought it was fine and it was okay. I thought it was predictable. And I just don't care enough to continue. I also will not be finishing The Inheritance Games. I thought that this story sounded so up my alley. Like, I heard the plot and what it's about, and that there are secret passageways and puzzles and things like that, and that sounded so cool. I was so excited to read this book series, but I found that I didn't get as much of that as I wanted in the book, and I had no care in the world about the love triangle. I don't know, there's just something about it that felt very meh to me, and I just don't have any interest in continuing. I don't think it was the worst book in the world by any means, but I just don't care enough to continue. Oh, people are gonna be real mad about this one. But for the time being, I may change my mind about this later, but for the time being, I will not be finishing the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J Maas. I know, people love it. People love it. I gave this book series a real chance, okay? I really did. I read Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, and then it's when I got to the tandem read of Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn that I just was over it. Now, I have learned a lot about myself and that I can't just read a series back to back to back to back. I know I need a break. And so maybe that's what it was. Maybe I was just really sick of being in the same series. I needed a break and I didn't give myself a break. That could be why. Tower of Dawn specifically, I don't care about Chaol. I don't care about him. I don't want to read a whole book about him. And it's a really long book. Like the rest of the books in the series after that point that I've read are really, really long. Like Kingdom of Ash is like 1,200 pages or something crazy. Like I just don't know if I care enough to put that kind of time. And at this point, it's been so long since I've read them, I feel like I would have to start over. And that's just a huge commitment. So I don't know, maybe a few years in the future, if I feel up to it, I may start the series over. I don't know, but for now, I'm just not interested in finishing it. The next series that I DNF'd is the Twisted series by Ana Huang. I don't know, I read Twisted Love, and I think back then when I was reading it, which was like October, November timeframe, I think I was rating books a lot higher then because I was really brand new to reading and I was just enjoying everything that I read. And even then I gave it kind of a low rating. I just didn't really like it that much. I didn't think it was that great. And everybody says, oh, okay, we have to get past Twisted Love. No one likes that one and just move on. So then I started reading Twisted Games, and this is a fan favorite. Like a lot of people say that this is their favorite one. And they're like, you know, it's Princess Diaries with Spice. And I was like, okay, that sounds really good. But I don't know, it's just, I feel like the writing is a little immature and the relationship is a little immature. I don't know what it is, but I just don't vibe with it. And so I got about 40% through Twisted Games and decided I don't care enough. I just don't. So I will not be finishing that series. The next series that I DNF'd is the Edens series by Devney Perry. I read Indigo Ridge, loved it, had a really good time, and I read Juniper Hill and I liked it. I did like it. It wasn't my favorite book in the world, but I think that for me, I don't know, I feel like I have so many things that I want to read and very little time. And I feel like I'm trying so hard to catch up on all the things that I want to read because at the same time, all of my favorite authors are putting out new releases and it's just so much. And I have no problem just letting go of stuff that I feel is mediocre to make room for stuff that I know that I'm gonna like more. And then the last series that I have DNF'd would be the Villains series by V.E. Schwab. So Vicious was the first book I ever read by V.E. Schwab, and I actually did like it. So the first half of the book, I was vibing. Like I loved it so much. And it's all I could think about. But then I started getting a little bit bored throughout the book, and I don't know, it just didn't really take the turn that I wanted it to take. And so I just got really bored by the end. And there's a sequel called Vengeful, and I don't know, I just don't really have any interest in finishing it. I feel like I got all the closure that I needed from the first book, and I just don't care. I did hear that V.E. Schwab is writing a third book in the series too, and I don't know. I don't really feel the need to continue. There are currently some series that the author has not finished writing that I am in the middle of, and only have a few of those. So the first one is the Crescent City series. I'm so freaking excited for the next book to come out next year, House of Flame and Shadows. I will say Crescent City isn't to me as good as ACOTAR is. I know a lot of people disagree with me, but urban fantasy isn't necessarily my thing. However, I love Sarah J Maas. I love her writing. I love the relationships that she builds, and I love that there are a lot of different characters. I feel like these books in the Crescent City series are way too long, and I think that it's very overwhelming with the information dump and all of the perspectives that we see, and I think it can be a lot, but I mean, if you read House of Sky and Breath, you can't just read the ending of that book and then not read the third one. Like I gotta know what happens now, you know? And then of course I am in the middle of reading the Chestnut Springs series, and Hopeless is coming out soon, and I'm so excited. I cannot wait for Beau's story. I actually thought that Reckless, the last book, I thought that was gonna be his perspective, and I was so ready for it. And I was not expecting Theo and Winter at all. Obviously, I'm glad that that happened because that's my favorite book in the series right now. I'm really excited about Beau's story. And the last series that I'm in the middle of right now that has not been finished is the Windy City series. I did read Mile High, which I thought was fine. I gave it like a 4-star. I don't think it was anything super special, but I did like it, and I'm very excited to read Bright Move because everybody has said really amazing things about that particular book. So I'm very excited to read that. And if that goes well, if I do really like that book, then I will read the next one that's coming out. I actually can't remember off the top of my head when that's coming out, but it's called Caught Up, and I have no idea what it's going to be about or when it comes out. But if I like Right Move, I would probably continue reading that series. I really love sports romance, and I just finished reading the Off Campus series not too long ago, and I really like that, and I'm ready to have a new one. So
I also completely forgot about Fourth Wing. Iron Flame is going to be coming out this year, and I'm really excited about that also.
that is all the series that I'm currently in the middle of, and I'm trying my best to not start new series until I kind of start working on chopping away at some of the series that I'm already in the middle of. That's kind of my goal. I really hate knowing that there's a lot of open-ended stuff going on, and hopefully I can get to the rest of these by the end of the year. So that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in a couple weeks. Bye.